There's an old saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. But here's what they don't tell you. Most people waste their first impression in the first 20 seconds. 4 words. Just 4 simple words that have destroyed more careers than any other question in history. Tell me about yourself. I'm going to share something personal with you today, a story about failure, about rejection, and about the one lesson that changed everything. By the end of this video, you'll understand why your qualifications don't matter if you can't introduce yourself properly. You'll learn the exact formulas that turn rejection into opportunity, and you'll master the art of saying exactly what matters in 20 words or less. This is English Unlocked, where we don't just learn vocabulary, we unlock the wisdom that opens doors. Let's begin. Picture yourself walking into the most important interview of your life. You've prepared for weeks. You know you're the perfect candidate. Your experience is flawless. Your qualifications are exactly what they need. The interviewer looks across the desk and says those 4 words. Tell me about yourself. This is your moment. This is where you prove your worth. So you do what everyone does. You start from the beginning, where you studied, where you worked, what you accomplished, one achievement after another, building your case, proving your value. And then you notice something. The person across from you isn't listening anymore. They're waiting for you to stop talking. When you finally finish, they say something that changes everything. That would have been more effective if you told me what you can do for me, instead of just talking about yourself. 5 minutes. That's how long my interview lasted before I was rejected. 20 years of experience, perfect qualifications, and I couldn't get past the first question. That moment broke something in me, but it also woke me up. For years, I thought people rejected me because I wasn't good enough, because I wasn't smart enough, because something was fundamentally wrong with me. But I was wrong. They weren't rejecting me. They were rejecting how I talked about myself. After that disaster, I made a decision. I would study introductions the way scholars study ancient texts. I would break them down, understand them, master them. I studied first impressions. I analyzed what made some people instantly memorable while others were instantly forgotten. I researched why certain sentences made people lean forward while others made them zone out. And after months of work, I discovered something remarkable. The perfect introduction isn't about you at all. It's about them. 6 months after that failed interview, I found myself in a coffee shop. Casual conversation with someone I just met. She asked a simple question. So what do you do? And I answered in one sentence. I help people who have something important to say, but don't know how to say it. She stopped, looked at me, and said 3 words that changed my life. Tell me more. 15 minutes later, she hired me. Same person, same experience, same qualifications, but this time a completely different result. The only thing that changed was how I introduced myself. Let me show you something most people never notice. When someone asks you to introduce yourself, your brain immediately does something predictable. It treats the question like a form you need to fill out. Name, job title, years of experience, education, previous positions. You're giving them information, facts, data points. But here's what you're missing. Facts don't create interest. Benefits do. Let me give you an example. Here's what most people say. I'm a marketing manager with 10 years of experience in digital advertising and brand strategy. Technically accurate, professionally stated, completely forgettable. Now watch what happens when we shift the focus. I help companies reach customers they've been trying to reach for years, but couldn't figure out how. Same person, same skills, completely different impact. The first version is about me. The second version is about what I can do for you. And that distinction makes all the difference. Think about it this way. When you meet someone, they're not wondering about your credentials. They're wondering about one thing. How does this person matter to me? If you can't answer that question in the first 20 seconds, you've lost them. Here's another problem: length. Most people think they need to tell their whole story. They start from college and work their way forward, like they're narrating their resume out loud. But research tells us something fascinating. In today's world, you have roughly the same attention span as a goldfish, about 8 to 10 seconds before someone's mind starts wandering. That means every single word has to earn its place. There's no room for filler, no room for unnecessary details. Think of your introduction like a headline, not a full article, a headline. Your job isn't to tell them everything. Your job is to make them want to know more. Before I give you the formulas, you need to understand two principles. These are the foundation everything else is built on. First principle, think soundbite, not biography. A soundbite is a single sentence that captures the essence of something complex. It's clear, it's memorable, and it makes you curious. When Neil Armstrong stepped onto the moon, he didn't say, "After years of training and preparation, having traveled approximately 240,000 miles through space, I am now placing my foot on the lunar surface." He said, "One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." That's a soundbite, and that's what your introduction needs to be. Second principle, make it about them, not you. This is the hardest shift for most people to make, because everything in your brain is screaming, "This is my chance to impress them, to show them what I've done, to prove I'm qualified." But impressive credentials don't open doors. Relevance does. When you talk about yourself, you're asking them to figure out why they should care. When you talk about what you can do for them, you've already answered that question. One puts the burden on them. The other puts the value right in front of them. This is the difference between saying, "I'm an award-winning author," and saying, "I help first-time authors get their books published." The first one is a credential. The second one is a solution. People don't care about your awards until they understand how you can help them. Now we get to the practical part. I'm going to give you 5 different ways to introduce yourself in 20 words or less. These aren't theory. These are templates that work in real situations, job interviews, networking events, casual conversations, anywhere someone asks what you do. The first formula is the simplest and most straightforward approach. The structure is this: I help specific group of people achieve specific result. Example: I help nervous job seekers explain clearly why they're the right person to hire. Notice what's happening here. You're identifying who you help and what outcome they get. Nothing about your background, nothing about your credentials, just the value you provide. The second formula takes this idea and adds one powerful word: without. The structure is this: I help specific group achieve specific result without common obstacle. Example: I help small companies reach new customers without spending money on advertising that doesn't work. The word "without" is where you differentiate yourself. Anyone can claim they help businesses reach customers, but doing it without wasting money on ineffective ads, that's specific, that's valuable. The third formula is for people who aren't leading with their job title. Maybe you're changing careers. Maybe you're a student without much work experience yet. Maybe your work is driven by something deeper than just a paycheck. The structure is this: I'm passionate about specific cause to achieve specific outcome. Example: I'm passionate about education access and creating opportunities for students in underserved communities. This works because it shows what drives you, and passion is magnetic. People are drawn to it. The fourth formula is similar to passion, but you're leading with what you're naturally good at. The structure is this: I'm known for specific skill to achieve specific outcome. Example: I'm known for turning complex data into clear insights that help teams make better decisions. This is particularly effective if you're in a technical field or if you have a specific ability that sets you apart. The fifth formula is for people driven by a larger purpose. The structure is this: I'm on a mission to achieve specific meaningful goal. Example: I'm on a mission to make quality healthcare accessible to communities that have been overlooked. Missions are powerful because they communicate commitment. They show you're not just doing a job, you're working towards something that matters. So there you have it, 5 different approaches, 5 different formulas. Which one should you use? That depends on your situation and your audience. Try them all, write them down, say them out loud, see which one feels most natural to you. You might find yourself using different formulas for different contexts. That's fine. That's smart, actually. Because different people care about different things. What resonates with one person might not resonate with another. The key is having clarity, having options. So when that question comes, you're not scrambling, you're ready. Let me tell you why this actually works. When you meet someone new, their brain makes an instant judgment. Within seconds, they decide whether you're worth paying attention to. It's not personal. It's just how our minds work. We're constantly filtering information, deciding what matters and what doesn't. And here's the interesting part. Your introduction isn't really about giving them information. It's about triggering their interest. Think about it like this. When you lead with credentials, you're essentially saying, here's a list of facts about me. You figure out why this matters. But when you lead with value, you're saying, here's how I can help you. Here's why this conversation is worth your time. One makes them work, the other makes them curious. There's also something called the specificity principle. The more specific you are, the more credible you sound. If you say, I help people improve their lives, it's too vague. It could mean anything. It sounds nice but meaningless. But if you say, I help new managers lead their teams without burning out in the first 6 months, that's specific. That paints a picture. The brain can grab onto that. Specificity creates trust. Vagueness creates doubt. Another psychological principle: relevance equals memory. We remember things that are relevant to us. We forget things that aren't. So if you want someone to remember you, make your introduction relevant to them immediately. Don't make them connect the dots. Connect the dots for them. Now let me show you what not to do. The first mistake is leading with your job title. Hi, I'm a software engineer. Okay, so are millions of other people. What makes you different? What makes you worth remembering? Job titles don't differentiate you. Your value does. The second mistake is listing credentials no one asked for. I have an MBA from this school, and I worked at these companies and I won these awards. Unless someone specifically asks about your background, this makes you sound insecure, like you're trying to prove something. Confident people don't lead with their resume. They lead with their impact. The third mistake is talking too long. I see this constantly. Someone asks a simple question, and the other person gives a 5-minute speech about their entire career history. By minute 2, the listener has mentally checked out. Short and compelling beats long and thorough, every single time. The fourth mistake is being too modest. Look, humility is good, but there's a difference between humility and hiding your value. You don't have to brag, but you also don't have to downplay what you do. Say it clearly, say it confidently, own what you bring to the table. The fifth mistake is using jargon. If you're in a technical field, it's tempting to use industry language. Resist that temptation. Unless you're talking to someone in your exact specialty, they won't understand. And if they don't understand, they won't care. Speak plainly, make it simple. Clarity always wins. Here's the truth about introductions. You can't improvise them successfully. I know you think you can. You think, I'll just figure it out when the moment comes. But that's how you end up rambling, or freezing, or saying something you regret later. The best introductions sound natural because they've been practiced. Not memorized like a script, but practiced enough that they flow easily. So here's what I want you to do. Pick one of those 5 formulas, write your version down, actually put it on paper. Then say it out loud, multiple times. Get comfortable with how it sounds coming out of your mouth. Then test it in real conversations. See how people respond. If they lean in and ask questions, you've got it. If their eyes glaze over, adjust. This is a process. You'll refine it over time. That's expected. But the important thing is starting, committing to having a real answer instead of winging it every time. Let me end with something important. If you've been struggling with introductions, if opportunities keep slipping away, if you feel invisible or unheard, I want you to consider something. What if it's not you? What if you're qualified, capable, and valuable, but your introduction just isn't reflecting that? Your inner critic will tell you all kinds of lies. It'll say you're not ready, not experienced enough, not impressive enough, that you're an imposter. But what if that voice is completely wrong? What if the only thing standing between you and the opportunities you deserve is 20 words? 20 words that clearly explain who you help and how you help them. That's all. That's the secret. Not perfection, not an impressive resume, just clarity. So here's my challenge. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop overthinking. Stop letting fear or doubt keep you stuck. Write your introduction, practice it, use it, and see what happens. Because the right introduction doesn't just get you in the door. It changes everything. Now let me teach you 10 powerful English words and phrases from this video that you absolutely need to master. These aren't just vocabulary. These are the exact expressions native speakers use in professional situations every single day. Number 1, to make a first impression. Meaning, the initial judgment or opinion someone forms when they meet you for the first time. Example, you only have one chance to make a strong first impression in a job interview. Memory hook. First impression equals the mark you leave the first time, like a stamp on paper. Real-world usage. Extremely common in business, networking, and professional development contexts. Number 2, to ramble. Meaning, to talk for too long in a confused or disorganized way, without a clear point. Example, when he asked me about my experience, I started to ramble and lost his attention. Memory hook. Ramble sounds like scramble. Your words get scrambled and messy. Real-world usage. Native speakers use this when describing someone who talks too much without focus, often used self-critically. Number 3, elevator pitch. Meaning, a very short description of yourself or your idea that you can deliver in the time it takes to ride an elevator, usually 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Example, I worked on my elevator pitch so I'd be ready when I met potential investors. Memory hook. Imagine you step into an elevator with your dream employer. You have until the doors open to explain who you are. Real-world usage. Extremely common in business, entrepreneurship, and networking conversations. Number 4, wake-up call. Meaning, an event or experience that makes you suddenly realize you need to change something in your life. Example, getting rejected from that job was my wake-up call. I knew I had to improve my interview skills. Memory hook. Like an alarm clock that wakes you from sleep, a wake-up call wakes you from ignoring a problem. Real-world usage. Very common in motivational contexts, career discussions, and personal growth conversations. Number 5, to grab someone's attention. Meaning, to make someone notice you or become interested in what you're saying. Example, a good introduction grabs the listener's attention in the first 10 seconds. Memory hook. Grab equals take hold of quickly. You're taking hold of their focus. Real-world usage. Common in marketing, communication, and presentation contexts. Number 6, credentials. Meaning, qualifications, achievements, or official documents that prove you're qualified to do something. Example, she has impressive credentials, including a master's degree and 10 years of experience. Memory hook. Credentials sound like credit. They give you credit for your qualifications. Real-world usage. Formal term used in professional, academic, and hearing contexts. Number 7, to lean in. Meaning, to move your body forward showing interest, engagement, or attention. Often used metaphorically to mean showing interest. Example, when I explained my idea, she leaned in and asked me to tell her more. Memory hook. Picture someone physically leaning their body toward you because they're so interested. Real-world usage. Very common in business and communication contexts to describe engagement. Number 8, to differentiate yourself. Meaning, to show what makes you different or unique compared to others in a competitive situation. Example, in a crowded job market, you need to differentiate yourself from other candidates. Memory hook. Different plus 8 equals make yourself different. The suffix 8 often means to make or cause. Real-world usage. Extremely common in business, marketing, and career development. Number 9, soundbite. Meaning, a short, memorable statement or phrase that captures the main idea, originally from broadcast media. Example, politicians practice their sound bites before interviews to deliver memorable messages. Memory hook. Sound plus bite equals a small bite of sound, a tiny piece that captures everything. Real-world usage. Common in media, communication, and professional contexts. Number 10, inner critic. Meaning, the negative voice in your mind that judges you, doubts you, or tells you you're not good enough. Example, my inner critic tells me I'm going to fail, but I'm learning to ignore that voice. Memory hook. Imagine a critic who lives inside your head, constantly commenting negatively on everything you do. Real-world usage. Very common in psychology, self-help, and personal development discussions. There you have it. 10 essential phrases that native English speakers use constantly in professional settings. Write them down. Practice them. Make them part of your active vocabulary. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Which formula will you use? Drop a comment. Tell me your introduction. I'll read it and give you feedback if you want. And if this helped you, subscribe. Every week we explore real English skills that matter, not textbook lessons. Real communication that opens doors. There's another video here about confidence and body language. Watch it next. It builds on everything you just learned. Thank you for your time. Thank you for trusting me to teach you. Now go introduce yourself properly. I'll see you in the next lesson.